Okay, this is an Olaf versus Jax VOD. One thing I generally do with the VODs is make sure that the other player, like the person I'm playing against in lane, is an experienced top laner and at the very least like experienced on their champion. And that sort of is the case with my opponent here, except their win rate is like only about 50%, which I guess is kind of fair, because as of when this was recorded, my win rate is also like about 50%, so I guess technically it's even. I do apologize for not keeping with like the full sort of every Monday upload schedule for the VODs. I've been having some trouble with insomnia. Not so much difficulties getting to sleep, but like staying asleep for like the full night. So like my mental energy has just been really stretched very thin for the past few weeks. I've also been trying to work on my Olaf guide, or the Olaf guide, like the republishing of it, like getting all the work done on it. And that, like when I'm doing the technical aspects of that, that's also very mentally taxing to do as well, because I'm like sort of thinking about things at quite a deep level. I should really toggle the fog of war. There you go. We don't need to see what they're seeing. So on the first VOD I gave, what, a few weeks ago at this stage, I said I was looking at releasing the guide on the 27th or so of September, with a fallback of if I couldn't quite make that, I could have up until like just before PAX, like an extra week or week and change. And just because like to do that I would have needed to work on it multiple hours each day, and by multiple I mean like 3-ish each day since I said that, and I've tried to do that, but like again my mental energy is supposed to be stretched so thin. So I've made like I've spent heaps of time working on it since I said that date, but there's no feasible way that with the amount of work that's still left to do, even though I've spent so much time on it, there's no feasible way for me to make that September deadline, and even the October deadline I'm not sure about anymore. Well, like the mid-October, early October deadline I'm not sure about anymore. So I'm not going to give you a new deadline, because I don't know how well I'm going to be sleeping for the next little while. Obviously I'm trying to do what I can to sleep better, but in any case, we'll just get back to the VOD, and if I have any new updates, of course I will chuck them onto Twitter and Discord and, you know, whatever else. So this game is interesting because this is one of the days where I hadn't slept very well, and I decided to do something different. I decided to roam a shit ton. So I make this an early game 5v4. I do sacrifice for it. Vayne tried to heal me but didn't quite get it right. You don't see team chat, but like she apologized for that, because technically she could have kept me alive for quite a while there, because I would have been getting triumph procs as we fought. And obviously Olaf being alive in a fight is a pretty fucking big deal. One of the reasons I went for this is because Jax has Ignite. Obviously the first most obvious thing is that means Jax can't follow, but like the sort of perhaps less obvious thing is that I don't really want to be fighting this guy in lane. I basically just want to force him to use his Ignite to get an advantage, and like just win fights that are not good for him, because he needs to take fights that I'm giving him. Like the person who is taking the fight doesn't always get to take the fight on their terms, right? Because I'm not the one taking the fight. I'm just trying to basically just farm up and affect the rest of the map, because his Ignite, he's on a pretty strong champion. It's possible for Olaf to win this 1v1 outright, but basically what I just want to do is stack the deck in my favor. So I want to force him to be quite far forward. I want to force him to take a fight where he's already been poked down a little bit, so that like the Ignite advantage is sort of mitigated. And I also just want to, you know, play around the map where he isn't, because he doesn't have TP, and he obviously can't follow. And I've also, you notice right now I'm doing it as well, but also before I'm like stacking the wave, so that gives me the opportunity to just sort of run around if I want to. And he can't clear the wave, like he's not even building a Tiamat right now, but even if he had a Tiamat, it would still take him like a little while to clear the wave. And you can't realistically gain access to a Tiamat for like, what, 6 minutes, something like that. I don't know the exact timing, but it's going to be a little while before Jax can quickly clear the wave out, and until that time I can just keep doing this, stacking the wave and then sort of taking these quick trades. Alright, there didn't go as well, but I can make up that deficit by just using W with Corrupting Potion, hit the minions, and like I've gained a few hundred health, and you can see the health is like really one-sided now. Even if he trades back and I don't like get any damage when he trades back, there's still a huge health gap. So I've hit level 6, I'm thinking about a dive, but I know that he has Q and E and Flash and Ignite. So like, it's very dangerous to do this, especially without Kha'Zix around, so I don't really want to go for a straight up dive. I have pretty good vision, and we just saw Kha'Zix at Dragon, so I know it's sort of a bit safer. Basically what I want to do is make him feel like he has to fight me, which he just did. He just burned his Q and his E. And he took a little bit of damage doing that. And I'm gonna keep sort of doing that. I'm just sort of bleeding out his CS a little bit, bleeding out his health a little bit.
Shut down.
And now I'm level 6, he's level 6 as well, but I think I can take him if he goes away from his tower. Because he will die, even with Counter-Strike, he will die to a QEQ with my ult on. I don't need to auto-attack him at all. So if he comes close enough, which he does, I'd give him a QEQ, and unsurprisingly he just dies, because that's how that works. So yeah, the Jax matchup early is basically he wins short to medium-ish fights because of his Counter-Strike. Sorry, I should say he wins medium-ish fights because of his Counter-Strike. Fights that are instant before he can pop his E, because you can't pop it immediately, right? You have to wind it up, and it's active during the wind up, but it has like a short lockout where you can't activate it again. Olaf wins those fights because his Q and E take less time to put out, so he can outburst Jax. But then in like the medium time period of sort of beyond about a second, beyond maybe a second and a half, up to maybe 3 or 4 seconds, Jax is sort of stronger because he can auto attack during that time and Olaf can't auto attack back. And then Jax can potentially just like run away afterwards. So the trade I just took there wasn't that great because I missed my Q onto him. He dodged it with his own leap. But again, I can just like lifesteal off the wave. And he went double dagger, which I think is incredibly greedy here because it means that he can only all in. But he's just burned his ignite. So his all in is actually not, unless Kha'Zix comes, which is, you know, it's a possibility, which is why you see me warding there. I sort of had that covered slightly by the control ward, so it wasn't as risky. And also based on the way Jax was moving, it wasn't too risky. But yeah, double dagger just means that I can just run him down like this. Because he just doesn't have the health. Jax needs time to auto attack in order to like sort of take back the deficit that Olaf starts off creating, because Olaf can use QE to burst. Jax doesn't have comparable burst of his own, he needs to auto attack, which takes longer. Like he has damage, but he doesn't, it takes longer to put out. So again, this is another situation where I'm a little bit worried about straight up diving him, because if he full channels an E it could be quite bad. But once again, Jax just burns his QE to trade, which means he's vulnerable to just being, you know, I just all in him. And we saw Kha'Zix on the map, so it's not very risky. Since Kha'Zix was seen topside jungle, I decided to recall. I don't want to risk feeding the Kha'Zix. we're in a map-wide position where I don't need to take risks. But then I check my gold, and you can see I am... No, okay, never mind. I don't know why I did that. I thought maybe I was gonna get back cleaver. But basically, I just saw Kha'Zix was not necessarily able to kill me in a minion wave, and I don't think he was like... I'm pretty healthy, right? I don't think he would be able to just walk up and kill me. So I waited a little bit just to make sure that Kha'Zix was unlikely to come up. Like, I didn't want to roll the dice too hard. That's why I waited in the bush. So Kha'Zix would hopefully not come top. There wasn't really much reason for him to come top other than to kill me. There wasn't like much of a wave to catch or anything. So by disappearing off of his vision, my goal there was basically just to make him not come top so I can take the next wave and get a greedy purchase like this. Oh, actually, maybe I was just slightly off Black Cleaver. Based on that gold, yeah, maybe I was. I'm not 100% sure. Like, that's why I said at the start, I thought I did that because I saw the Black Cleaver was like, I don't know, 100 gold away or something. Which makes a sort of greedy risk, like what I did. It's not completely risky, but it is like on the greedy side. Like, if you can complete a major item like Black Cleaver, then something like that does sort of become worth it. And here you can see that even though like I took a couple tower shots, that like I'm still trading back pretty okay. I do have to worry about whenever my axe is not nearby or about to come back from cooldown, I have to worry about him jumping onto me like he just did. That's sort of why you see me playing a little bit back. But then I noticed that like Jax didn't. He built the Stinger. His stats just aren't there. Again, Stinger, the attack speed, it takes time, and that's a luxury that Jax simply doesn't have against an Olaf that's finished his Black Cleaver. Also with a level lead, I think we're gonna have to wait for Jax to come back because I didn't check the level, but basically he would have needed to go. I don't know, maybe Jorum's Fist, or maybe a Doran's, and then double dagger, but certainly, like, whatever he's done, and then the trading pattern that he's used hasn't been very effective, because he's not playing to the strengths of his items. Every time you see him trade with me, he's basically just going for a quick burst, right? But Stinger attack speed, as a stat, is not a burst trade stat, so yeah, he's playing not necessarily to my strengths, but certainly to his weakness in terms of his atomization. You can see I sort of postured to mid lane because I'm looking. I'm at my TP's back, so I'm looking to see if there's somewhere I can go, and then I can just TP back to top lane. But there's no objective really bot side. Bot's not in a great position to gank for because they're kind of low. And maybe they haven't backed in a while. Yeah, Vayne's sitting on a shit ton of gold. And mid was just like going back to the lane, so it was unlikely that, and it's a casting as well, so it's really unlikely there's going to be much to do there. I noticed that Jax is sort of coming over here, maybe he's doing Herald? Guess we'll find out in a second. No, he's not doing Herald, I don't know where he went. I just go back to my lane. But yeah, right now I'm sort of looking for places I can be that aren't top lane, because I don't want to... well, we really want to push the fact that I have a TP and this guy doesn't, and also that I have like a wave advantage. Like, I'm constantly pushing it towards his side of the map. Like, my turret's taken almost in damage because the wave has always been like past the halfway line, and his turret's like completely destroyed. So that's my goal here. I'm just warding this red, and I'm coming over here. I might try to get vision. I just looked to see if the raptors were up. And I'm sort of pushing mid to see if I can get something here. I go really aggressive on this Sarah. That's okay in this context because we had like a pretty good idea of what could happen. And I'll just pause real quick so I can spend 5 seconds talking about that. We knew even if Xerath full comboed me, I'm not in danger of Kha'Zix killing me. So it's very greedy Yes, but if we can make Zereth take a little bit of damage, then in the next 30 seconds, if no one else reinforces, if Jax doesn't come, if enemy bot lane doesn't come, we can actually kill him. And so we do. That's something you can do when you have a lead. You can trade a large amount of resources, short term, for a small amount of enemy resources. But then you can then follow it up with an all-in, where you make use of the fact that even though you've traded away a large amount of your resources, in my case it was half of my health bar I lost just to get like one axe and an auto attack, something like that. You can go rewind to find out how little damage I actually dealt to him. But when I have the ability to do that, and not die for it, I can just follow up later and kill him outright. I didn't see this in real time before. I do a defensive TP for Thresh here. I've noticed there weren't that many TP opportunities. So if you've noticed in the game there were lots of TP opportunities, this was not a good teleport. It was the opportunity cost of the teleport was too high, but there wasn't much happening. There wasn't many chances. I was noticing that I could TP. So to save someone's life at the cost of the TP is, you know, not a bad thing to do. At this stage, I'm once again just looking to get Zereth a little bit low, make him push out a little bit too far, and then I'm just going to kill him, and I do. And that this is not a high risk play because the enemy bot lane has just died, and Kha'Zix was just over here and he was really low. Well, he was actually over here technically, and he was really low. So it was very unlikely Kha'Zix was going to be shadowing the Zereth. So it was pretty much guaranteed that it would just be me and Zereth, and you know, Zereth can't survive what I wanted to do to him. So I get another free kill. And then the reason I back and don't stay around is because I've just burnt ult, and I know Kai'Sa's like kind of dead. And I had a decent chunk of money on me as well. If I had ult, and if I had these items, and I was in this bush, even though Kai'Sa was fed, I could probably take her, because Nami doesn't have like much on her either. She doesn't have a oh, I'm drawing a blank on the item. Ardent Sensor, or an Athene's Holy Grail. Anything like that. Anything to buff Kai'Sa more than her kit inherently does. And Kai'Sa has only completed one item. So if I had these items before, yeah, I probably would have stayed and I would have tried to kill Kai'Sa, but I didn't, so I didn't want to push my luck. It was potentially possible to make it work, but it wasn't likely. So once again, I'm basically just moving around the map, taking what I can. I kind of want Cassidy to get this kill, but I'm not 100% confident that he can take it, because I wasn't tracking Kai'Sa's cooldown, so I just take it on the exit. And that's fine. Not ideal, but it's fine. Clouddrake's alive, but these guys need to back, so I like initially pinged for Clouddrake thinking maybe me and Ringo could take it, but then I'm like, nah, that's a bad idea. Vayne split pushing, right? So when your other side of the map is busy and your side of the map is like in base, it's not a good idea to take the Drake. Even though we just killed their bot lane, they'd already respawned, so that'd be maybe, I don't know, here-ish? If I toggle vision, yeah. So if we started the Drake right then they could come down and intercept us. But by delaying the Drake a little bit, then the two people on our team who just recalled, they can come over and help us. If we need them to. Right now I have, this isn't a great amount of gold. Yeah, I'm staying. But like if I go back and buy, what can I buy, right? I have 1800 gold, but I've already finished Black Cleaver, I've already finished Derek's. Oh god, I do something really dumb here. I didn't notice that Kha'Zix was like staying around. I thought, and I'll just sort of show you guys what was going through my head. And I'm gonna blame this one slightly on the insomnia, because like, oh, this and the next game right after this, that's sort of all the attention I had. And I didn't quite play them perfectly. So right here, I thought Kha'Zix was leaving. But in actual fact, he was actually trying to fight me. So I completely misread what this guy was doing. So I thought this was a 2v1, I thought Kha'Zix was going this way, but he actually stuck around and like really, really hurt me. And because of that fact, because I couldn't, I didn't really have time to kill more than one target, I just went for the target I could kill most easily, which was Nami. The lowest value target, but that's all I could do. Toggle the vision back to blue. And one of the reasons that was so costly of a mistake, I'm just gonna pause as Vayne does this, is because that shutdown went to Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa is like their one hope here of their main group. I don't know how best to describe it, but their main group of being strong. If Jax gets if he sort of comes back, he's probably still going to take a lot of damage from Olaf Kassadin, and he's going to get CC'd by Thresh. If Kha'Zix gets the kills, he can't really jump into the middle of this team without dying for it. If Xerath gets it, then, you know, maybe he can make something happen, but he's so far behind that I don't think it's, like, even if Xerath got the shutdown, he's not suddenly going to kill us all. But Kai'Sa was already big, and I just made her even bigger by giving her this like huge juicy shutdown of 700 gold. So that was actually an extremely costly mistake. I basically just gave them the potential to win, well not win, but like maybe make a comeback if Kai'Sa can get items in the next like 2 minutes. And maybe she does. Yeah, she gets a Rage Blade. She's got 2 items now. That's comparable to her own AD, and she's actually got a Zeal on top of that because the shutdown gold. So yeah, that mistake I made right there when I completely misread Kha'Zix was actually incredibly expensive, and it was something I should have not done. One thing you need to keep in mind when you're making judgment calls about whether to go in, whether to take a fight or not, is not just what you think is going on. And I thought Kha'Zix was just leaving. You need to think about the chance, the possibility, the probability that you're actually wrong about your assessment. The chance that there's something more to the situation that you're not thinking about at the time. If you're familiar with the terminology of known unknowns and that sort of thing, then this is a situation where it's a known unknown. There's always something more to the situation that you're not quite able to process at the time. And well, I mean, the game has just sort of ended right there, because they just lost the ability to defend. Xerath was all of their wave clear, so now we can just run them over, and there's not really anything they can do about it. But yeah, always think about the possibility that the situation is not going to go quite the way you expect. Always try to like plan, give yourself a bit of buffer, give yourself a bit of safety against what if this play doesn't work as expected. And you saw right there with the Kai'Sa Nami that I've been talking about for like the past few minutes, I did not leave that buffer. And I mean, watching us now, it doesn't seem like it would have been a big deal, but honestly it could have been. If that could have been the moment where the game turned around. It could have been the moment where as it's not showing it, but I just, you know, put Olaf's joke out. That could have been the moment the game turned around on us. If Jax like split pushed for a little while, he gets Shojin, Kai'Sa got these items while Vayne is on the same like items. It's possible that if we make another mistake after that, then like suddenly the teams are basically even. But fortunately for us, you know, afterwards we just got this fight in mid and then we won the game, so no worries on that. I'm going to be doing another VOD right after this one. If you're watching on YouTube, then you obviously don't care in the slightest about the timeline, but I'll catch you guys in like a few minutes.